Think you need a fancy named diet to boost your fertility? Think again. Let's break down a smarter way to eat for your fertility, specifically thinking about what your hormones and your cells need. The first thing we need to do is make sure your foundation is right. Eating healthy, single random foods here and there isn't going to make a difference if the foundation isn't already there. So let's first go over how to structure your diet with your proteins, your fats, and your carbohydrates, and get beyond the usual just eat healthy advice. Health and fertility isn't just about eating clean or eating whole and unprocessed foods. While these things are really important, what we really need to make sure we're doing is having enough of the right nutrients. This is where knowing how much of each macronutrient to eat is important. Your macronutrients are your proteins, your fats, and your carbohydrates. And these are the building blocks for healthy hormones and good eggs and sperm. Older, outdated advice pushes way too many carbohydrates that mess with blood sugar and hormones and ignore what we now know about how important proteins and fats are. Protein and fat are non-negotiable for fertility, and carbohydrates that are chosen wisely play a huge supporting role. Let's talk protein. Protein is your fertility diet MVP. It builds tissues, balances blood sugar, and fuels hormone production, which are all crucial for ovulation and implantation. You want to aim for around 25% of your daily calories coming from protein, which is approximately 80 grams to 100 grams of protein on a 2,000 calorie diet. There are weight-based calculations you can use to figure out your personal dietary protein needs. The minimum here is going to be 1.2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight per day. Most women aren't getting nearly enough protein, so this is the first place you should start looking to build your fertility diet foundation. Highest quality sources for protein are going to be animal-based because they have the best absorption and assimilation rates. Think nutrient dense. Eggs with yolks, fatty fish like salmon, beef, chicken, turkey, yogurts, and cheeses. Fat is the unsung hero of your fertility. Fat supports hormone synthesis. Think progesterone, estrogen, and testosterone. And it also keeps you satiated, which prevents those fertility-killing sugar spikes. Studies show that women who have higher amounts of fat in their diets from healthy, real food sources have better ovulatory function and significantly higher hormone levels. Newer evidence-based research is showing us that we should be getting around 35 to 40% of our daily calories from healthy fat sources. This is around 70 to 90 grams of fat on a 2,000 calorie diet. You cannot skimp on fat. The best sources here are going to be things like avocados, olives, olive oil, nuts, coconut oil, and fatty cuts of meat. Seafood also has some awesome omega-3s and fats with it, so you should be aiming to eat seafood 2 to 3 times per week. Couples who do eat seafood 2 to 3 times per week conceive faster than couples that don't. That brings us to our last macronutrient of carbohydrates. And with this, less is really more for your fertility. Carbohydrates are by no means evil, but too many, especially from refined ones, can cause a lot of inflammation and a lot of issues with your insulin and ovulation. Research is showing that more and more of us have a metabolic dysfunction, up to 88% of us. And most of us don't know or won't know for many, many years. This is why carbohydrates are really important to get right. We want to keep our carbs under 40% of calories per day, which is roughly 70 to 90 grams if we're basing this on a 2,000 calorie diet. Some of you might do better in the 100 to 125 gram range, depending on what's going on with your health. And some of you might do even better with less, maybe 50 grams of carbs or even less than that. This is pretty individual, but a good range to start with is that 40% or less, which is around that 70 to 90 grams per day. This is enough to give you good energy without the blood sugar roller coaster. The biggest focus here is in choosing carbs that are nutrient dense. So you'll want to swap out refined carbs, and in many cases grains, for things like sweet potatoes, squash, berries, and other starchy vegetables and fruits. To wrap it up, the best way to structure your plate is that about half of the plate is protein and fat-rich foods, and the other half is full of smart carb options that include both non-starchy vegetables like leafy greens and starchy vegetables like sweet potatoes and squash. The goal here is not to be perfect, so you want to aim for about 80% whole and unprocessed foods, and you are well on your way to a healthy and nutritious fertility diet. Hope this video was helpful. Hit me in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, ladies.